Good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for January 1, 2026, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. I want to make sure you're in a comfortable position, no outside distraction. Relaxed into your body, still as a statue. Focus on your breath rising and falling. When we've discovered that the mind is an illusion along with the ego. And when does suffering happen for us? It's when this illusion, called the mind, gets in the way. It's when we become overly focused on thoughts and material things that make us feel limited or time-bound. We start believing we only have limited options. This is where the limits come in, where we configure limits on ourselves. And this is when the realm of the infinite fades into the background of the finite. And we start thinking everyone is living in a very small, contracted world. When we only focus on our needs, we forget how to connect with the soul of others. Now, if we are always thinking about money and more material possessions, we cannot see or feel the infinite reality that is beneath it all. The majority of the rat race is trapped in thinking about time-bound appointments, which causes consciousness to squeeze itself into a tiny temporal box or boxes. We give ourselves all kinds of, we lay controls upon ourselves. You know, the clock and the times. Interestingly enough, we're consumed with resources around money and material items. We instantly start feeling disconnected from the infinite, eternal beings we actually are. And this addictive dwelling of the mind on what is not infinite or eternal is what makes us feel spiritually disconnected from every living being on this planet today, in this very now. Now, we all know we were born, these bodies were born, with a limited time-bound physical body. Right? We come into these physical bodies so that we could acquire a contrasting perspective and experience ourselves as the infinite, eternal being we actually are. Now, we have the capability to create, manifest, and experience anything we desire. We are all the children of a great universal consciousness known as God that is impregnated with unlimited potentiality. Now, you can't figure out, okay, so you all of us within these bodies, we're a great universal consciousness. We are collective consciousness in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And on this planet, we call it God. With unlimited potentiality, with everything we could ever possibly need or want on an infinite journey. We have massive, omnipotently powerful manifesting power. We are omnipotently abundant, prosperous. We have it all. And the interesting thing is that really ironic that we don't know it. And if we do know it, we don't know how to engage it. Now, the mind is small. It's a small container. It misses out on many things because it cannot comprehend many things. Our inner world is always impacting and manifesting something in our outer world. Every thought we believe to be true is what is creating our reality. Do you believe something, okay? It does not matter, anybody else what they believe. It matters what you believe. Because what you truly believe, not superficially, but what you deeply and eternally believe, you're going to manifest. Period. Okay? Now you can circumvent that by not focusing on that and shifting to another direction, and then that fades off. We have all these ideas about the way life should turn out for us tomorrow. But how many of us are here now, in the present moment? Now is the moment of power. Now is where enlightenment is discovered. Now, for physically, we are forever forced to exist in this present moment. Our present awareness is always being generated from this present moment. Know this and live and breathe within this knowing. It always goes to, if you want your life to be smoother, fuller, and more in touch with utter bliss, get in touch with your eternal essence, the God. Let go of any limiting thoughts that you have and drop into the knowingness that you are an infinite soul who never, ever dies. If you crave for some secure life that is easy and light, give that experience to yourself on the inner world within first. Find out how to soothe yourself emotionally, giving deep, robust, tingling sensations to every corner of your body, mind, and spirit. The great experience of divinity is always available and ready to take you into the higher dimensions. Greatest life is ready for you here now. So open yourself up. Welcome it in. You will find the infinite within the finite. Deeply trust the process. Breathe it in. Enjoy every breath you are given. Meditation is a listening with a receptive heart. Okay? You're using your heart to listen, not your head. Meditation is a listening with a receptive heart. Buddha. We have, it's like we look at this, it's a time element, right? It's a new year, January 1st, 2026. Actually, if we looked at the truth and the true calendar structure on this planet, it would be something like 2059, 2058, 2059. Time is irrelevant. Time is a structure. Time is actually an enslavement placed upon the planet. But if you don't have a comparison, you're going to live in that constricted environment. Okay? You'll believe it, and so you'll keep creating it. Eventually, some of us are approaching this already, we will go beyond the neediness of our ego, and we will come from the real confidence of our relaxed, surrendered, cosmic soul. It is about opening up all the doors that you could possibly imagine. Talk about whatever you cannot talk about. Our interactions with ourselves is paramount. How we treat ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, how we care about ourselves. And see, everybody on this planet, mostly, for the most part, has been taught the opposite, is to, there's nothing inside you, everything is outside of you. So we've been trained to focus on external life, not internal life, external life, where we leave the God that we are, our deep spiritual root with the God that we are, and we literally spend all of our time outside of ourselves. And this means that the ego mind is definitely the master and commander. Now, do we know that? No, we don't know that. No, it just seems regular. Everything, that's the way life is. That's one of the biggest spin-offs, so to speak, that we say, that's the way life is. And in the event you believe it, then that's the way life is. But as the ages progress, we begin to discover that we are the master and commander of our lives, that we create our lives every step of the way, that we manifest every single speck. We manifest subconsciously, so therefore we're not aware of some of the things that come in and present themselves to us. We think it's generated from some other source. And a super impactful practice is to be gentle with yourself at all times. People will come down on themselves. I've heard it so many times. They cut themselves down. They ridicule themselves. They don't think about it. It's just a habit that they use, and they have no idea how damaging that is. It breeds contempt for oneself. That's what it does. It breeds hatred for oneself. Now, they don't know that. It's just randomized. They just do it because it's a habit of doing it. They ridicule themselves. They manifest many things because of this belief or attitude or feeling that are not very pleasant for themselves. They don't know or correlate the fact that they are manifesting these things. That doesn't really take front and center. So they continue, piece by piece, to dissolve themselves in either pity, self-extermination, judgments upon themselves. And this is why they're not able to have deep, eternal, loving relationships, because of that. And how many of us on this planet? Probably the majority. That actually are doing this, but they don't do it on purpose, so to speak. They do it randomly because it's just a habit. And it teaches those of us who don't do that, it reinforces things. See? Because every one of us, I've said many times, are teachers and students at the same time. So you view others, not through judgment, but you learn. You know, how they treat themselves, what the results of those treatments are to themselves. And that, therefore, you know that you will not concentrate or focus on that type of frequency or energy, because the same results will appear for you. One of the biggest hurdles that we have in this species on this planet is to genuinely love ourselves, because of so much external information that has, let's just say, trained us in believing that we're not what we are. So we don't believe deeply that we are a God in the body. That's just crazy. God's outside of us. Everybody knows that. And so we live a lie, an untruth. And we've been trained to live outside of ourselves. That's why so many people do not meditate, because they fear it. They really do fear it. So they stay away from it. And this has been going on for ages, for thousands and thousands and thousands and millions and billions of years. So it's nothing new. And fear is hollow. Fear is created by how we believe. So isn't it interesting? We focus on things that we fear and create more of the fear. You focus on things that you do not fear, that you love, that you embrace, you'll create more of those things. Sounds real simple, doesn't it? Piece of cake. Easy peasy. Not so from the standpoint of habitualization, where we've been trained to habit. Our lives turn into habits. We get so used to doing the same thing over and over again that we get so comfortable with it that we cannot expand outside of it. So it keeps us from going anywhere and just stay there. Many of us hold on to pasts. You reminisce. You go in the back and you look and you compare in this life your past and the things that you've experienced and that type of thing. But many people live in the past. It's like if you had a bad relationship in the past, you hang on to that, and it keeps you from having a fulfilling relationship now. Fear, which is hollow. Till you give it something. Great quote from Robert Adams is, turn within, and you will become free and liberated, because it's all a dream. You hear me talk a lot about this matrix of illusion. It isn't real. Now, we all live, I believe that we all know, that we live in a highly diverse, intelligent system. which contains various degrees of truth. And so not every truth will impact us the exact same way. And the bigger a truth is, the more it will expand our reality. And the smaller a truth is, the more it will shrink and contract our experience of this life. Now, good news is that you, you do not have to decide what is a big truth and what is a small truth. Your physical body will let you know. For your heart is the best guide for seeing how expansive or contracted a truth actually is. It's like whenever we discover a larger, more profound truth in this life, a little miracle happens. Everything that once felt hard, heavy, and stuck inside us suddenly becomes exalted and liberated. We feel lighter than air and are filled with a natural, spontaneous joy inside, which flows as freely as the wind. The mind stops thinking, and we experience our own source of consciousness. And from here, we see life from a much more expanded perspective. And it can happen within milliseconds, like a blink of the eye. Now, you are real. The God within that body is real. All right? And as the quote from A Course in Miracles, it simply states that that which is real cannot be threatened, and that which is unreal does not exist. Now, that can be very confusing for many. Okay? Because what they see with their eyes, they believe is real. And a lot of times you're not going to convince them any otherwise because you're crazy if you try. Doesn't it make sense that we create illusions to entertain ourselves, to experience? Right? That's what we do. I know it sounds kind of strange to some, but we're constantly in a continual evolution of higher and higher divine perfection as the gods that we are. We absorb the information by creating the different life circumstances in physical material form, which gives us deeper, greater insight, which expands our awareness on a much broader scale. It's like I've shared that, a trillion years ago we created a universe, and then we create one now, and it's a big difference because of the information the collective consciousness has assimilated. Because every single being, right, every God in a physical material body, I don't care if it's a gas or a liquid or like the flesh or many different forms that we inhabit to experience. And this is where we create comparisons. Okay? And the comparisons assist us in creating new universes. And we really do create as a collective consciousness because there's just trillions of us, trillions, gentillions of us, gods throughout existence and beyond. All collectively, which means together, in one golden ocean of energy, creating. Now, when you take that, and you have total amnesia, right? And you take all this information that is not truthful. You take all this information, and you assimilate this information, okay? You assimilate it. And it forms your perspective and your attitude, your personality, your character, and all this stuff. And the crazy thing about it is, that's how else would we progress in a way? We wouldn't. We're an empty vessel, and all we're waiting for is information to come in. It's like an empty hard drive on a computer. It's waiting to be filled up with information, so that information can be utilized and applied. And the ironic thing about it is that all that information that we take in, okay, comes from somebody else's thoughts, not ours. It's really strange, to say the least. So it's all based on the redundancy of others' thoughts that educate us to form our lives and our directions. Can you see the challenge in that? You don't have any way in the beginning of referencing anything. Zero. So we all rely on other people's thoughts to what? Train us. Unfortunately, the other people were trained by other. And those are untrue. This is why you'll hear on occasion that we're living a lie or an untruth. And the only way that we're going to discover otherwise, somehow, that we move into a direction of discovery, curiosity within ourselves. And if we don't do that, then we fall into this redundancy lifetime after lifetime. We learn, we experience and we learn each lifetime, but we can't recall it. Okay? We can't recall it. It's like you watching a movie, okay, over and over and over and over and over again, but never remembering the movie. Isn't that wild? That's what this is like. It's like watching a movie over and over and over again, but never remembering the movie. So every time you see the movie, it's like the first time, even though you've seen it thousands of times. This is why, okay, this is the main reason why this civilization, many other civilizations as well, many other species throughout existence and beyond, stay in this kind of a compartment of redundancy without knowing it, see, without experiencing any redundancy, because you don't remember it. That's the key factor when you look at the planet as a watcher or an observer. You see this. You see the redundancy. You see the repetitiveness. You see the different factors. Okay? When morality is destroyed, when love for oneself doesn't exist, you get an energetic field of disruption. And this is what we experience. This is what we're now experiencing. One might ask, well, what's the difference between this redundancy, and deep eternal love and peace? It's a self-discovery from within. And it's only created or opened when each of us decide to go within. And not to ridicule, judge, or dissect ourselves at all, but to embrace exactly who and what we are in the very now, the moment to moment. Completely. Now, we can on the surface, we can say to ourselves, you, the real you, you're an omnipotently powerful, supreme, manifesting, abundant being that never dies, that is inhabiting that body for experience, to experience a material physical world. Okay? But it's got to be deep within you that you embrace this. And you are that which is real that cannot be threatened. And so you ask yourself, what is it that feels threatened inside of me? What is this personality, this self, this ego, or that thing that you call you, which defends itself when feeling attacked or provoked? What is that? What is this little you who has a need to be on guard and protect itself, trying to assert itself and attempting to achieve something important or worthwhile within their life? And then, who is this overly strong, confident, all-important you who compensates for the super small, unimportant you? It's the one who has been attempting to make your life secure by feeling self-important, accomplished, met in deep embrace by their beloved, and all the while is feeling a deep and constant separation from God. And the good news is, all this is that who we truly are, has nothing to do with who and what we think we are, which means these bodies, the name, and our life. Whatever we may think of and conceive of about ourselves with the mind can only be a thought. And this little thought is too small to be who or what we are. Who and what we really are is beyond any spiritual understanding, comprehension of the mind in this moment. And only this moment, we can find what is actually real, and this real thing is the only thing that liberates us, binds us at the same time. That which is real, the real you, does not change. And this essence is what remains the same for all eternity. Our identification with the ego is based in some form of fear. If we are not experiencing a state of oneness, unity, love, and connection, relaxation and bliss, we are hanging out in some quality or version of fear. The ego is clinging to some thought or a process of thoughts which believes deep down that it is not one with the divine, with the God. It thinks it is not loved, accepted, embraced, or enlightened. Great quote from Osho: the more creative you become, the more godly you become. When your creativity comes to a climax, when each moment of your life is filled with creativity, you live in God. And a really good way to put enlightenment is simply realizing again and again and again how to remain non-identified with one's ego. The enlightened state is a pure seeing, comprehending how the ego is the greatest illusion of them all. To intimately know and become identified with the real self, that which cannot be threatened, is the only true path to total freedom there is. All other paths lead to some form of suffering. It requires no basic standard of ethics, codes of spirituality, or religious background needed to arrive. You simply experience yourself as the essence of consciousness that you naturally are. Join you in meditation. I'll return and close this out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body, focused on your breath, rising and falling. Look within your heart and notice what it feels like to love and accept yourself exactly as you are. Feel the warmth that you have for this rare spiritual treasure and precious gold mine of presence that you are. Let your love permeate every part of your being. Leave no part untouched by this healing lightness. And how refreshing this eternal fountain of love truly is. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, the following morning. We'll return here Friday, January 2, 2026, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call and our reverse aging health call and all the rest after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to talk about the actual new system and what's really happening above the layer above all this confusion. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. Open your heart and allow the love, deep eternal love, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, fun, joy come flooding in